G'day guys, Sim here, and welcome to yet another league racing video. Now, this was taken from a stream of AFR Season 5 Tier 2 around Bahrain, and I can guarantee this race was absolutely insane. Really close racing, and it's setting us up for what's likely to be an absolutely insane championship battle, both drivers and constructors. Now, you might also notice I have no face cam for this stream. Unfortunately, my lights all decided to die on me, and when I went to test it out, because this race occurs at like 8:30 PM, so it's really dark, it looked really bad and it wasn't worth having. So no face cam for this one, but that will hopefully return in future streams and videos. Yeah, heading into qualifying, heading out on the soft compound tyre, looking for a soft to hard strategy if possible. And skipping ahead to the end of our first lap. It was an okay lap, once again very safe, but yeah, coming across the line now, setting provisional pole with a 26.0, but yeah, a lot of time still on the table. So coming on to our next lap now, still currently provisional pole, so not looking too bad currently, but yeah, max fuel, hot lap, braking late into turn 1 down to first gear, short shifting up to 4th gear, and then 5th on the exit of turn 2. Getting a nice exit out there, and already nearly a 10th up, leading into turn 4 now, braking late down into 3rd gear. Possibly should have gone down to 2nd, getting a little bit of oversteer on exit, shifting up to 5th, 7th gear, maybe should have left it in 6th, but yeah, we're currently up nearly 2 tenths leading into turn 8. Braking a little bit late, missing the apex, but managing to get a decent exit. Coming up to a little bit of traffic though, CK80 I believe is on an outlap. Thankfully he gets out of our way here pretty quickly. And we're free to continue, and now almost 3 tenths up. So really looking like a nice lap, and heading through turn 11 now. Getting a nice exit, maybe not brilliant, and then heading into turn 13. Currently just over 2 tenths up, so losing a little bit of time through that middle sector. Getting not a great exit out of 13. And then coming into the final corner now. Just clipping the apex, maybe could have done that a little bit better, but getting a nice exit onto the final straight, and finishing up just 2 tenths up with a 25.7, so, you know, not a terrible lap. But then, coming on to our final lap of the session now, we've dropped down to 3rd on the grid currently, just navigating some traffic now though for the start of our lap, and just trying to get a really nice exit out of the final corner for the start of our lap. Not terrible, but it could have been a lot better. But you'll notice, Bully is only just up the road. We wanted to give him as much space as possible, but yeah, really could have done a lot better than that. So anyway, dropping it down into 1st gear for the first corner here, short shifting all the way up to 5th gear, getting a nice exit up a couple of thousandths there. So not looking too bad at the moment. Heading out really wide, maximising the entry of the corner, down into 2nd gear, short shifting to 4th, a lot of oversteer on exit again. But currently up by a few hundredths in the first sector. Getting a nice run through 6 and 7 there, and nailing the apex at 8 a lot better than previous laps, and now nearly a 10th and a half up on our best lap so far. You'll see, we're nearly already catching up to Bully. So this could help us and hinder us. It could give us a tow, but there's also some more aero-dependent corners coming up. So now just over a 10th up still, so looking good at the moment, and braking late into turn 13, nice apex there on the power, nice and early on exit. You can see the time we are gaining on Bully in the slipstream here, leading into the final corner now. We're nearly we are 2 tenths up into the final corner, getting a lovely exit out of there, and with the slipstream up to the line, we end up beating our lap by 2.5 tenths and setting pole position with a 25.5, which was actually my PB. I hadn't set that in practice at all. So looking at the results now, yeah, it was a decent gap that I had to 2nd place, but from 2nd further down the grid was really close. So end of the formation lap, trying to chill out, keep it nice and calm. Looking for as good a start as possible. Pre-race chat, as always, in the Discord. Making sure everyone's going to be chill off the start. And yeah, just patiently waiting for the lights to come on. And just chilling out, because the start here is going to be extremely important. So the 5 red lights come up, and sitting at just over 10 or nearly 12,000 revs, and we get not a great start. We get a little bit of wheel spin in 3rd gear, and Stars has got an insane, absolutely insane start. We try and cover the inside, but he's already around the outside of us, and now Faber is looking to go at us into turn 2. We're forced to run wide to leave the space there, and the gap is already 8/10ths to Stars, so this is looking very, very dangerous already as Faber tries to go up our inside into turn 4. We can't have that. We just hold it around the outside, and now we have to chase down Stars. He's already out of DRS range before halfway through lap 1, so it's imperative that we catch back up, because if he gets out of DRS range and takes off, we're really going to struggle to catch him back up and have a chance of winning this race. Stars' pace this season compared to last season has been absolutely insane, and like I said last race, he's probably our main championship rival in this league. So the fact that he already has now a 1.5 second gap over us is ridiculously dangerous. We're also coming under pressure from Faber as well, only 6/10ths behind. So, you know, we're in a really dangerous position here, because if we don't get back into the DRS range, we have no defense against Faber from behind. So, this is at this stage, this race was not looking particularly good. We've burnt through our allocation for a lap of ERS, trying to get back into it, but
what an insane start though, holy shit.
It's not looking good at the moment. Still 1.3 seconds down. DRS coming out next lap.
His traction
his traction through the first set of corners, he just pulls away in this first sector. There wasn't a lot I could do. We've managed to pull out of DRS range of Faber though, just about, so at least that won't be as much of a threat if we don't manage to catch him. But at this point, I'm just doing all I can, like absolutely hammering the car and the tyres, trying to get back in that 1 second gap. And thankfully, we are slowly crawling back to the back of his car, but it's taking a lot of effort to bring this gap back. I was absolutely pushing it every single corner through this section of the race, trying to nail every single apex that I could. As we get into the start of Sector 3 on this lap now, running through 13, we just managed to get back in that 1 second gap. So, crisis averted for now, but we got to make sure we get another good exit out of this final corner, just so we get in the DRS detection point before turn 1 for the run into turn 4. So Stars sets the fastest lap. We then beat that as well. But yeah, our ERS is already down at 14%. So we've had to use so much to get back into DRS range. Thankfully, we managed to stay there as we jump ahead to lap 5. And it's a 5/10th gap, so we're comfortably back into DRS. But you'll see, Faber has also caught back up to us as well. So he's managed his ERS and fuel really well and just sort of eased back onto the back of us as we've sort of had to replenish our ERS a bit better.
So much better traction.
But you'll see on these next few laps, as we're just watching the exit of turn 1 here, and every single lap, Stars just seems to get an absolutely insane exit, and I just couldn't seem to match him at all. But you'll see at end of lap 8, we get a virtual safety car, and I think this is pretty much perfect timing for the soft to hard strategy. Ideally, you would pit at the end of lap 9, but you know, we weren't gonna miss this opportunity to pit, and here we have an opportunity to jump Stars. He gets held up a little bit by Fever, but unfortunately we couldn't quite manage it. I thought I had at the time, but I wasn't really paying attention. So here we exit the pit lane. Combat Rat gets in front. He started on the hards, so going for the alternate strategy here, and gets out in front of Stars, and Stars just loses the back end completely out of turn 2. So that promotes us to the lead. Fever also spinning the rears up a little too much and losing the back end. So now we're in front of Stars by 2 seconds, and he's behind his teammate on the mediums. But you'll hear over team radio in a sec. I believe Stars asks Psycho if he can get him over the DRS straight, which, you know, that is entirely fair. He is entitled to ask for that. But you'll see, we are struggling to get past Combat. Those old hard tyres really still aren't faring too badly. He's still got a decent amount of pace on these tyres. So we're sort of stuck behind for the entirety of this middle sector. And Stars has already passed his teammate and starting to close in again. So now we have to make sure, as we get our first track limits warning, we have to get past as soon as possible and try and extend this gap. We can't let him get back into the DRS zone. We have to try and stay out of it, make him use all his ARS, and do what we can. But here we go. We get good exit of the final corner. DRS, Rich Mix overtake, and we are well and truly past Combat on this front straight now. And basically free to fly, hopefully. You'll see, though, Stars is still only 1.9 seconds back, so that gap, now 1.7 seconds, so once again, getting those insane exits out of turns 1 and 2, gained him a full 0.2 just in that section. So his pace through this first sector because of that was insane. So here we are, we're still just pushing, we're already outside of a 1 second gap to Combat, so our pace is pretty decent, but Stars is still closing in now, a 1.6 second gap back to him, so already gained 0.4 since overtaking his teammate, and it's going to be tough to try and keep him out of DRS. It's as we check for penalties on Combat, I'm not sure why I did that. He wasn't really in the race for us. We just, I don't know, maybe I thought Stars might get past and it might give info on that, I don't know. But yeah, 1.6 seconds the gap still to Stars, but you'll see he's within 0.3 of Combat already, which means he's almost guaranteed of getting past him on this next DRS straight. So here, getting a nice exit again out of the final corner and immediately moving across to the right. I don't want to give them any amount of slipstream to drag themselves back up to me at all. Combat defending to the inside as well, so he's now not getting any slipstream from me. But Stars, I believe, just goes clean around the outside of him. No issues at all. You'll see the exit he gets out of this corner. Already a 1.1 second gap, so at this point it wasn't worth fighting to try and keep him out of the DRS zone anymore. It was much more beneficial to just try and defend from him, save some fuel, save some ARS again, because that's already back down to 35%. So it made much more sense to try and save that and use some of it to defend for a few laps. So you'll see, coming onto lap 11, he's well within DRS range now.
I think he wants to lead this race,
but he's not really pushing. He's just happy to sit there, save some fuel and ARS in my DRS and slipstream.
A bit of a gap.
And you'll see over these few laps, we're not setting the world alight on our laps here.
Using overtake?
But he's using higher fuel mixes here, just closing in on the straight here as we go deep on this lap. It wasn't a great run through here at all. But on the next lap, we're trying to break the slipstream. He doesn't bother following us though, for whatever reason. We've still got a half a second gap.
It's not worth it.
Now 30% ARS, so we've been burning it a little bit, trying to keep in front, but really possibly could have done a lot better.
He's using overtake to bring back as well, so
a lot better job of managing my ARS and fuel. But on to lap 15 now, you'll see how much closer he is on the exit of this corner now. He's within 0.4, and I don't bother defending it. I looked at my ARS and fuel
just not use it
and thought,
let him take position.
I'm not managing to save myself any ARS and fuel here, so I let him go. And looking back, this is where I really should have defended my position. But we'll continue on. He tries to break the slipstream. We're having none of that. We're going to keep in his DRS. Not letting him get away from us at all. We're just going to sit here. We've got 45% ARS, so not doing too badly on that front. Nearly a lap and a half of extra fuel, so really not struggling there at all. But skipping on to the end of this lap, you'll see we have it in rich mix, DRS, and we drop it down into lean. But we're still cruising up to the back of him here, so I have a go. Okay, we'll see how this goes. Later on the brakes, but we just can't get the exit. I've left it in lean, fuel mix, and just can't get the exit there. Still in DRS though. We pull out to the inside again, go for it again into turn 4, but there's really nothing going there. It was really a very much half-hearted attempt. Skipping on to the next lap again. Once again, still in the DRS zone. 60% ARS now. We've left it in lean.
Using a higher fuel mix at minimum.
But yeah, still just cruising up to the back of him. So these are all times where I could have gone for the move if I just switched it up into a higher fuel mix and higher ARS. Again, this lap, we use a little bit of overtake on exit because he tried to push a little bit more on that previous lap to try and get out of DRS range. You'll see, if we'd left it on or left it in rich fuel mix, we may have had an opportunity into the first corner once again. And then now on to the start of lap 20. We leave it in rich mix this time. We don't bother with overtake. We chuck it into, we chuck DRS on.
Just using rich.
And using the slipstream. We get really close to the back of him here with very little effort. I don't end up going for the move because I didn't think I was close enough. But you'll see, that was, if we'd chucked overtake on, that would have been our best opportunity so far to get past.
We're putting him under a bit of pressure
I thought I was putting him under a bit of pressure here, but quite possibly I wasn't. I think he had quite a bit of ARS saved up as well. So it was shaping up to be an incredibly good battle, and I was really looking forward to how it would turn out over the final 9 laps. It was going to be an insane battle. Both of us had plenty of fuel and ARS, but the safety car has been deployed. Unfortunately, Saxar and I think Booley both retired, both hitting the auto spin curb, I believe, before turn 13. So really unlucky there, but we fast forward ahead a bit. We're trying to consider whether or not we should pit this lap, because there is only 9 laps to go, and with multiple laps under safety car, soft tyres would quite easily go to the end. So we're sitting behind Stars, we're trying to decide whether we'll go in. If he goes in, we will follow, and he goes in, so we are immediately there. Straight in the pit lane behind him, trying to gain as much time in the braking zone there as possible.
Missing out on that.
And onto some soft compound tyres. Unfortunately though, not fresh softs. I messed up with my tyre allocation at the start of qualifying and didn't have any fresh sets of softs to use. So these are worn soft tyres, unfortunately. So not ideal, but at least we will at least get in front of everyone else out of this pit stop on fresh soft compound tyres. So skipping ahead to lap 23, safety car stayed out for quite a while. This is now the safety car restart. We are right on the back of Stars, looking for any moment that he might go, but he catches us unawares and he pulls a 4/10 gap on us immediately. Thankfully, with overtake, rich mix, and slipstream, we pull it back a little bit. You can see he's pushing immediately. He is not giving us any opportunity into turn 1 at all. And his traction out of this corner, as we lose the back end slightly, is far better. He's already pulled
that was a terrible exit. Come on.
nearly a 7/10 gap of us. So this is looking a lot like the start of this race, where he got out of DRS range on us within half a lap. So this is looking really dangerous here with only 5 laps to go. We've set a personal best first sector, but he's still pulling away. He has now over 8/10 gap, and it's looking dangerous. Smitty is right behind us as well, within 3/10, so he's going to be dangerous as well, and Fieber just behind him as well. So this is a really, really dangerous situation, and there it is, the 1 second gap already.
Shit.
We've burnt through a lot of overtake as well, down to 55% already in half a lap. So this is not looking good. at all for us.
Come on, I was relying on a better
We're
exit out of that corner.
looking to gain back this time as much as possible. Getting a poor run through turn 13 though. The first time I've gotten a worse exit than Stars through that corner for pretty much the entire
Smitty's
race.
right on my arse too.
And really feeling under pressure a lot as well. The soft tyres just were not working for me. And you'll see, we've run out of deployment for the lap, and we're already down to 40% ARS and outside of a second gap. Really not saving our ARS at all.
Using his overtake on
Thankfully,
straight,
on lap 26, we managed to pull that back, ready for the DRS, but you'll see, we're down to 10% ARS. We have nothing left. We've got a 8/10 gap nearly to Smitty behind, but we've got nothing. No ARS, lots of fuel, but ARS is the thing that's going to save us here, and Stars is back out to 1.2 seconds. So here, I'm just nailing these apexes. I cannot let him get out of that DRS range. I have to ensure at all costs that I am in that DRS range at this detection point here, so I have some chance of catching up. And thankfully, right there, we're just in the DRS zone, and I honestly thought I lost it. I honestly thought I had lost that DRS on that lap. I thought that was it, but thankfully we just got within that 1 second gap at the detection point, and that gave us the opportunity to still fight for this win. So now we've brought it back to a 7/10 gap, and we're just trying to save ARS now. We have to get it back to an amount where we can actually fight for the win. We're checking for penalties, but I can guarantee that Stars and myself are both clean on penalties. I believe both of us only have one warning for this entire race, which in contrast to Australia in both AFR and race spec is insane.
Come on.
So 2 laps to go. We're really pushing now, but yeah, we've just got no ARS to fight with. We're still getting horrendous exits out of this first corner here. I said it was my best, but it felt terrible. But coming onto the final lap now, we get a poor exit of the final corner, wasting a lot of ARS to bring that gap back within 7/10 now. But we've got 2% ARS. We need to save some throughout this next sector to try and have an opportunity into either the final corner or into turn 11, I believe. So, yeah, we've got to do a lot. But here, turn 4, 3rd gear, up to 4th, losing the back end, really pushing now. 6th gear, down to 5th, pushing early on the power out of this corner and just running wide, nearly losing the car there. And just managing to save it. Big lock up on the inside, on the front right tyre there.
If you think I'm not fucking pushing,
there's my response. I think a few people in chat had been wondering what I was doing, thought I wasn't really pushing, but I made sure to mention that. But now the gap is outside of a second, and that is pretty much the end of our fight for this win. So skipping ahead now to the final corner, we run wide there, but thankfully no warning. And Stars gets the win. Very well deserved.
Man was too fast. I was worried at the start.
He fought really well. I had no pace on the softs at the end of that race. And he just completely outdrove me. That's all I can say. He did incredibly well. And it set us up for an insane championship battle for the rest of this season. I believe now the points are completely even. We're both on 1 win and 1 second place, and neither of us have had a fastest lap point, so points are even. Constructors' points are even as well between Mercedes and Williams. It's shaping up to be an insane season. But thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see me live. Go follow me on Twitch, and we might see you around sometime.